Yo, 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 what is poppin'? It is your girl, Morgan DuPont, back at it again with another video. I am living my Blossom from Powerpuff Girls fantasy, okay? So mixed with a little him, okay, with the black and the red. Okay, so if you my buttercup out there, if you are my bubbles out there, okay, let me know in the comment section below. Y'all want to say hi to my baby? Some of y'all was asking about my baby. Jojo baby. Oh, she's purring. She's purring. You purry? It's been a little minute since I've shared a story time with you guys. I've been avoiding certain stories, honey, because certain stories may be a little too salacious. However, I do have a story to share. I've only have shared this story probably like with 2 other people. I'm gonna start off with a little story in the very beginning, and then I'm gonna transition to the meat and potatoes of the story, which takes place with other characters. Okay, so stick around and it will all make sense. Okay, let me know what you're doing, if you're snacking on something, if you're sipping on something, puffing on something, whatever you're doing. I love you, I miss you, and I'm officially back. So I hope you guys enjoyed the story. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first story goes as so. Me and a homegirl, another trans girl at the time, we were bar hopping, all the things, and it was just one of those nights, feeling ourselves, feeling real cute. We met this random like white guy who was attractive, and he had invited us to go into his hotel room. It seemed very platonic, you know, but what guy invites a girl to a hotel without expecting some hotel services? Okay, all right. Well, we end up going because we were like, you know, this is cute to take pictures. It was a nice little bougie hotel. I believe it was in a meat packing, and it was just like really, really nice. Waterfalls, all the things, take pictures, selfies, all of that. So then we ended up in his hotel. Long story short, we hung out for a little bit, but honey, he thought he was gonna be a trio. But he's about to do a solo, honey. He's about to, you know, be a solo act, because we just wanted to, you know, just bask in the energy of the hotel and whatnot. And that's that. We leave, and this guy has my number, and he's expressing his interest in me. I told him that I was trans because I didn't know if he knew or not. Apparently he didn't. And then he was like, oh, well, like, I'm out, like, I didn't know, and I'm not interested in that. So okay, good thing, you know, things didn't happen, you know, I wasn't intending to. But so that's that. Okay, so keep that white random man in mind, okay, when I'm sharing the story. It was one night in the Lower East Side. I was at this particular venue that's no longer around. I'm surprised that they shut down. You know, I got to meet what's that guy's name? Cuba Jr., some shit like that, the actor. But he was super cool. He was good vibes, super sweet. There was always like some kind of high profile kind of something kind of person, you know, in the mix. I liked the vibe. It was cool. They played nice music. And so one night I went by myself. I had a good rapport with the bartenders, honey. I remember there was like a night where I was just making out with one of the bartenders, and I was getting free drinks, honey. So that was like my go-to place. I was like, what, honey? A cutie pie looking like a whole supermodel behind the bar, honey, wants to feel these lips and give me free drinks. Okay, this is what life's about. Fast forward, it was just one of those nights I was gonna go to that place. It was just convenient in distance and all the things. I go to the spot. I saw one of the bartenders I like. He's, you know, filling my cup, honey. So I was drinking pretty much all night, honey, to the point where I was a little twisted. And there was this one particular guy that he started kind of making conversation with me, and like, you know, like he had a good vibe. Like he seemed confident, not very conventionally attractive per se, but he just had like a good vibe, like a good energy, in my opinion. So then I guess he was friends with this girl who was like this super popular violinist. She was sitting on the bar with her violin, you know. Honey, she was killing it. She was killing it, and she's beautiful. Like, mind you, this, you know, she's a violinist, but she looks like this, like an actress. She was definitely made to be on camera, honey, and she was super gifted. So, you know, I'm lit, and I'm just like, like I'm having a good time, and I'm like, you know when you're at a point of your drunkenness where it just feels like you're so happy about life, like everything's so joyous around you. I'm just, having a good time. And this girl, she's looking extra pretty to me, honey. She's looking extra pretty to me, and not in no kind of sexual manner. Like, I wasn't attracted to her like that, but I just thought she was beautiful, and I love females, I love women, so I just thought she was so beautiful. And I love talented people. I love when a person could pick up an instrument, honey, and start now 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 now. Like, I love all of that. So I'm over here, I'm hyping her up, I'm gassing her up, and then, homeboy who's friends with this girl, he's like in my ear, like, oh, like, you like that, you like her, I see you and you like her, like, you just telling me all these things. And I'm like, no, she's everything. I'm like, she's bad. I'm like, she's beautiful, she's talented. And I'm like, just saying all these things. And he's like, yeah. He's like, you are too. I remember the girl started kind of coming on to me a little bit. Like, I felt like she was a little open. I don't know, all the compliments that I was giving shorty was like, really getting into her head, or maybe getting down below, honey. But I was just being friendly, but she was like being kind of like flirtatious and cute and really sweet with me, and like talking to me. And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of girl crushing on this girl. I'm lit. I'm like, this girl, she's so beautiful, she's so talented, she's gifted, and she's giving me a lot of attention. And you have this guy in the sidelines, like looking mischievous, like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna get these bitches to scissor. Like, no thank you. Eventually I end up finding out that, like, I guess they were dating, they were talking, like he considers her to be a friend, but like a friend with benefits. Well, he asked me if I would like to come back and play with them, like, and just have a time with them. And I was like, oh, basically I said something along the lines that I'll be open to it, like, it's not something that I do, but I'll be open to it, because I don't know, I would just I guess living for the attention I was getting. And like, they were so nice. And then this guy started telling me, like, he's a producer for reality TV, that he's worked with a certain reality show that's pretty, huge. And I was just like, oh wow. Fast forward, they're about to go, they're about to dip. They asked me, once more if I want to come home, and she's asking me too. She's, kind of being, forward, like, oh, do you want to come home, come with us, and then we can have a good time. And I was just like, no thank you. I think I started to come back to myself, and like, it was just like, I don't know, I started to like sniff pussy a little bit, and I was just like, oh no, oh no thank you, respectfully. I didn't even come from a vagina, okay? I didn't even come from a vagina. I came from a C-section, okay? I think, I'm not mistaken, all my other siblings came out of the vag. I didn't, and that's because God knew I wasn't down for that. It was a good night. I'm super lit. I'll go home. Done. Okay, that's that. This man hits me up, and he starts to ask me if I want to like go out. It was probably like 2 days later, where he was like, oh, let's go out. Let's go to like a speakeasy in the Lower East Side, and we could just hang out and whatnot. So I'm just like, okay, cool. And like, I don't know, he had a really good vibe. I didn't tell him I was trans, and I didn't know if he knew I was trans. And I don't know why I feel like I always found myself in this predicament where it was like, I'm gonna give you my Instagram, I'll give you my social media, so that, like, I don't know, like, once you get on, like, it's apparent, like, tranny, like, stand thought, like, born a dude, just to communicate that with somebody, like, just off the rip. I don't know, it's a little uncomfortable and kind of like weird. I ain't gonna hold you, I'm human, okay? I am human, super human. Anyways, I decide, you know what, like, he hasn't touched me, honey. We haven't kissed. It hasn't been anything like that. It's been super platonic and, like, a little he flirt, like, kind of a thing. But I wasn't like really putting it on hard, you know what I mean? He was like expressing his interest, but I was keeping it cool and keeping it, cute. Fast forward to the night that we decided to hang out again. We ended up going to the speakeasy with this man that I had met like a little while before that, who works there as a bartender. And like, he's like this like French guy, like, just a strong accent. Like, I don't know, when he kisses your cheek, like he's like making out with your cheek kind of a guy, you know what I mean? Like very, like, I don't know, he just had this, like, he was so confident and so like extra. He saw me and the guy come in, he was like, oh, like, and he looks like the guy. I guess he knows the guy whom I was, you know, hanging out with. And he's like, oh, like, you know, it's funny, like, you know, I know both of you, like, you know, and he seemed excited and whatnot. We sit down and then we're talking and he's telling me about his business endeavors and, you know, all the stuff that he's done, honey. He's giving me his resume. You know how these guys do, honey. Like, some of these guys, you know, they can't just like exist and just be. They have to like lay down the resume because they think that, oh, I'm gonna bust it open, honey, with that resume, honey, with all that experience. We were having a good time and I started to drink and I started to like, the trans thing in my head started to be strong in terms of like, you know, this was a while ago. This was like, I would say like maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. So I was still a little like, I don't know, like I didn't know how to deal with these kinds of things. But I started to notice that like he started to get a little closer type of thing. His, like, you know, we're in the booth, you know, he's getting drink after drink type of thing. He has his arm around me and I'm pretty close to him, and then he starts to tell me like, oh, he wants to kiss me. He's like looking at my mouth, he's looking at my lips, and he's like, you know, like I really want to kiss you. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, you're gonna have to wait because I don't know what to say. The French guy, like he knew I was trans, and I feel like he kept on making like smirking and like from afar. And then when the guy will go to the bathroom, he'll come to me like, you know, and he was kind of flirtatious with me too, but he was like, oh, like, I don't know if he knows, you know, whatever, but, you know, like making it like, kind of like a joke. And I'm like, like, it's not funny, it's my life. And like I should have just said something through text or something, but I don't know, I guess I got, you know, I'm not gonna lie, maybe I was a little like blindsided by the resume a little bit, just a little bit. Well, not blindsided, but I was definitely interested and intrigued. Okay, all right. You know, he comes back from the bathroom and I could tell, like, I could just tell he wants to be intimate. He wants to get close, honey. He wants to touch, okay? Before the end of the night, I wanna hold you so tight. You know I love you so much, and I'm so tempted to touch, so tempted to touch. That's what he was giving. He was tempted to touch, honey. So he was gonna go on a cigarette break. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, so in my head, I'm thinking, this is gonna be the perfect time for me to ask him if he already knows or not. Because I don't know if he knows. Like, I thought that maybe, like, you know, he did have my social media. I gave him my social media. But I don't know. These motherfuckers, they don't look through your socials and, like, I don't know. Like, but I was relying on that, you know, to hopefully, you know, tell him what it was. If he didn't know. We step out. He's a cigarette smoker, so not my thing anyways. Like, I'm not really into a cigarette smoker. Respectfully, you know, I don't need my man smell like a whole Newport Parliament pack, honey. That's just not my ministry. It's not my calling. However, he was nice, and what am I gonna like snatch up a cigarette from his hand and tell me can't smoke? Like, you know, on top of that, I'm a tranny. I was born to do like what am I gonna do? So anyway, we go in the front. And like we're talking, and like, you know, he got the little twinkle in his eye. You just know when somebody's looking at you, like there's a little tension in the air. Okay, I'm literally about to like just say like I'm trans. I'm about to tell him, and then rewind. Remember that white guy that I told you from the beginning? So white boy comes out of nowhere, and that was on a whole other day, just so you know. So, but I guess we were near the area in which, no, not even, we weren't near the area. He just so happened to have been in the Lower East Side that day. So then he literally walks past me and then says hi to said guy that I was with. And they like give each other that, whatever. And then so a homeboy that's with me, you know, he thinks that I don't know this guy, this white guy who invited me to his hotel, and he didn't know I was trans, and then like he just was out with the shit after he found out. So but he thought that I didn't know him, so he's introducing me to white boys so that I, you know, so, you know, just not be rude. And then I'm like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And then he's like, oh, nice to meet you. And he looks at me and he's giving me this look and we're shaking each other's hand. I'm like, oh my God, like, oh my God, like, I didn't say it soon enough. What if he just like say something right now, like to him, like, and be like, oh, like, do you know this, like, this is a training, like, or something, like, what if something like that happens? So I'm like, what's the coincidence? What is it that things like this happen? Out of all moments, days, hours, minutes, like literally, we outside in front of the place. He's taking a smoke. I'm literally gonna ask him if he knows I'm trans. And this man comes. He ends up not saying anything. But he looks at me like he's aware of who I am. And he knew this guy. And I'm like, okay, like, it is what it is. They say bye. He didn't like go inside the venue or anything. He just kept it pushing. He kept on, you know, walking. And kind of felt relief. But basically right there and then I was like, you know, fuck it, like, you know, I'm not gonna hold this weight over my shoulders and this anxiety and this, like, you know, like, let me just say what it is. So I asked him, I'm like, you know, I was like, you know I'm trans, right? Like, that's always been the question. You know I'm trans, right? Like making sure, because you could never assume. Some people like really do know and they just don't give a fuck. And some really don't know and they just, you know, because, you know, there's masculine looking bitches. There's not one type of something, you know what I mean? You have women that were born women that appear more androgynous than a trans woman who, you know, underwent surgeries or even maybe naturally have very feminine features, you know? So I asked him, like, you know I'm trans, right? And then he was like he stopped smoking his cigarette. And he was like, what do you mean? And then I was like, you know, I'm trans. And he was like, so what, you're saying you're a gay man, you're a gay boy? And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? And then I was like, I was born a boy, but I transitioned to female, and you know, that's just, you know, and then he was just like, oh, like, why didn't you tell me this, like, from the jump? Why didn't you tell me this before? I was just like, I thought maybe you'd known. And I tried to give him the whole spiel, like, I gave you my Instagram, I didn't, you know, like, and we didn't do anything. I didn't let you kiss me, because he did actually eventually try to kiss me and lean forward, and I kind of gave very much like, oh no, like, you know, virgin, wait to marriage type thing. But it was really because I wanted to respect that space, and because in the past before that, even though this is a past story, in the past before that, there were times where I didn't, you know, where I allowed a kiss or 3 or 5 and a touch. I wanted to give him that respect, but I just didn't know how to say it right there and then, and just, I don't know. I should have said it through text prior to meeting with him again. That was super ignorant and stupid of me, but I didn't. I could tell he was like agitated, and he was like just shaking the head, and he was like, what, like what? And I'm over here with you, like what? And I was like, you know what? I'm like, will you rather me not just come back in after your cigarette? Like, I just go home and, you know, and you just go back. And he was like, yeah, I think you should just go home. And then, like, he burns a cigarette, throws a cigarette, steps on it, and he immediately just storms back into the venue, into the club, bar. Yeah, I remember just walking and feeling stupid and feeling like, because I liked the vibe. I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, like, you know, I'm with a reality TV producer. He seems really nice and whatnot. But, you know, I guess I didn't keep it real from the jump. And I don't know. There were just times in my life where I just, like, didn't think about, like, my transness. Like, after a while, I forgot. Like, I don't know if it's just the delusion got so deep that I just really felt like I'm just no different than a woman or female, you know. But we should always let a guy know from the jump what we are and who we are, and you know, it is what it is. It's who I am, you know. So now, like, I feel like I'm better with it. However, it's still a very uncomfortable task. That's what feels like a task at times, to have to explain yourself, because there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of nuance to it, because sometimes a guy won't know, and you could tell them and they just think that you're messing with them and just joking with them, or you're just trying to, like, you don't like them, you're not interested. And it's like, no, I have no reason to lie, this is what I am and who I am. And then it's like, then it goes into like, what, like, how, why, and all these things. And it's just like, it's so exhausting. It's so exhausting when you just want to exist and just be. But yeah, so I remember he had like unfollowed me on social platforms. I think he might have even blocked me. And you know, I guess I wasn't mad at that. It was what it was. But yeah, that's pretty much the story, y'all. That was the story in a story. Okay, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you want to see, how y'all doing, and what you think about the story. Have you been through something of this sort? I know this is like, I guess maybe a limited view, because we're only like the 1% like trans people, because I feel like the only people that could really truly understand a story like this is a trans person, or a person who has been through something like this with a trans person, not knowing they were trans and they were disappointed, you know. So it happens, shit happens. I love y'all. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, all the things, and turn on your notification bell so that you always know when I upload, honey. I am turning out the fan so you can get some decent audio, honey. It is hot. It's hot up in here, but I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna share a story for my people. It's been a little minute. I know they want a story, so let me give them a story. Okay, all right, I love you. Thank you for being here. And yeah, until next time.